This demo is going to show you some tips and tricks about camera animation and general camera issues that I have learned over the years, and I'm going to communicate here to you. One of the things about camera animation that I'd like to stress, and I want to stress this a lot, is that there's a tendency to do these big sweeping camera moves around things and to go in and out, like you're a kind of like a bird flying through a forest. And those are very difficult to do, and sometimes usually they're unnecessary, especially for like a simple shot like a building or a room. I tend to think, and a lot of people agree, that the more simple, subtle, straightforward camera moves are usually the best. Sometimes the rule of thumb is less is more. Another rule is you don't want to notice the camera moving. You want to make it almost invisible move. You don't want the audience to be aware of the camera moving. So those are just some things to think about. So I'm going to do a couple camera moves here using a couple different techniques that I like to use. I'm going to create a camera, and I'm just going to create a regular camera here, and it's going to come in. It's going to come into the scene here, just in the center, and I'm going to position it, and I'm going to go into my 2 view, my 4 view, and I'm going to make this view here, I'm going to make that my camera view. So I go to Panel, Perspective, and Camera, and this is what the camera is seeing. And I can also go into my camera settings and go to Resolution Gate, and what is it, Control A? No, that's not it. Is it Alt A? Function A, oops. Anyway, this is basically the film grade. I forget how to center the top and bottom here, but you can kind of see. And so this is what the camera is going to be seeing, basically. So with the 2 views here, I can see the camera, and you can see it updating here, but I can also move the camera and see it update in this view window here. So I can kind of look around and pull my camera back. Oops, sometimes I lose it. There we go. So I can pull my camera back and down like that. So another thing I want to be aware of is to give yourself enough frames in the timeline here. This is a if you're going to be doing a pretty nice subtle move, you want to give yourself enough time. And I'm going to give myself about 200 frames total in my timeline to do my camera move, and that's under 10 seconds. And that's probably a good amount of time. It might be a little slow. You could use less than that, but if you start using like 50 frames to do a camera move and it's going to cover a big distance, it's going to be pretty fast. Another thing I want to check is my tangents here. I'm going to go into my preferences, animation. My default tangents are on linear, and that's good for now. And we're going to show you how you can use that to make some good smooth camera moves. We're going to change our tangents. So first I'm going to do is I'm just going to position my camera into the first position here. Go to frame 1, and I'm going to keyframe it by pressing S on my keyboard. I'm also going to hold it for about a little less than a second or so. So I'm going to go to frame 20, and without moving the camera, I'm going to keyframe it there. So the camera's going to hold for about just a second, about 20 frames before I start the move. Then I'm going to go to about frame 180. That's 20 frames from the end, and I'm going to position the end move here. So I can do this 2 ways. I can go into the camera view and actually zoom in like that. I can move it around and position the camera move. Let's just do it like that. So we're going to come around like that. And let's just be a little closer like that. And that's pretty good for now, and I'm just going to keyframe it there. Now let's just take a look. Let's middle click into the view here and just kind of look and see how my camera move is looking. It's looking all right. Yeah, this goes out of frame here, but I'm going to fix that in just a second. So let's just go here. I got my first and my start frame, and let's go to about frame 130, where it starts to break frame here, and it starts to go off center. And I'm just going to move it back just a little bit. I'm going to adjust that camera there, and I'm going to keyframe it there, like so. So let's just see what this camera move looks like now. And there we go. And it's staying. Let's just play it. Let's go to full view. And let's just play it. And you can see that it's staying centered in view. Now, if you look at it, you're going to notice that it's a little mechanical and it's kind of jumpy, jerky there. That's because my tangents and my animation curves are on linear. And if I were to look at that in my graph editor, if I go to Window, Animation, Graph Editor, press A and look at the graph. Let's look at the, let's just look at the translate for now. And you can see how it's a little, these are angular and not smooth, and it's going to look the same way. I think it's just the Y. There's a little bit of an angle there, and that's what you're seeing. You're seeing like a, you're seeing just like a linear curve. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab all those, and I'm going to go into my timeline here. And I'm going to go to that middle keyframe at 130, and I'm going to go into the timeline and I'm going to select it. I don't actually have to select it, I just have to go to that keyframe there, and I'm going to right mouse over that keyframe and go to Tangents and make it Spline. And what that did is that smoothed out those curves just a little bit, and it's just making a smooth curve like that. Then I'm going to go to the one on each end, and you notice that it's going to start at it's starting at frame 20, and it starts at a sharp curve and it ends at a sharp curve. I'm going to put in an ease in and ease out. So I'm going to go to frame 20, right mouse over that, go to flat. So you can see what that did is it flattened that tangent. There's a little handle there. And I'm going to do the same thing on the last keyframe here. Go to Tangents, Flat. And then I'm going to go to here again, and I'm going to go to Tangent, Spline again. And I can adjust that just a little bit like that. Like that. And just double check. That's a little. Smooth that out like that. And smooth that curve out like that. Let's look at our animation now. And you can see it's got a nice ease in and ease out, and then it's smooth to a stop. Let's just look at that one more time. And there we go. So again, just to kind of review what I did there, I'm going to open up the graph editor again. I changed my tangents on my keyframes in order to give it a smooth curve, and I have to go through and look. I'm pressing A to center the curve, and I can go and I can see the smoothness of the curve in the curve editor there. If you don't know about the curve editor too much, we can go over some we can do a little bit of review on that if you want. Okay, so that's just a basic camera move without using a curve or anything like that. So let's just go, and I'm going to show you another camera move. And let's just get rid of this camera. Let's delete this camera out of here. And let's start with a new camera. And let's go to create camera. I'm just going to create a basic camera there. And let's open up. I have a curve already set here. And if we look at it over here, I just made a curve like that. Let's just check out that curve. And it's just going in between these two objects here. And let's just take a look at it in the perspective. And I just pulled that curve like that. Now, when you attach a camera to a curve like this, it's going to attach it to where I started drawing the curve. And if you want to see where you started to draw the curve, if you forget, you go to Control Vertex, like that, and it's going to be this little square. That's the start of the curve. So the camera is going to attach itself to that end first. So I'm going to select the camera. I'm going to shift select the curve. I'm in the animation mode. Go to Animate Motion Path, and I'm going to attach to motion path here. Now, if I go into the option box, it's going to attach the time range to the time slider. So it's going to put a keyframe at frame 1 and at frame 200, which is fine. You can change that later. So I'm going to attach it to that. And why did it attach itself there? That's an odd place. Let's just undo that. And let's just go animate motion path, attach to motion path. Why is it attaching there? Oh, I know why it's attaching there. I'm not at frame 1. It's going to attach itself at frame 1, and that's where frame 1 is at the beginning of the curve, and it's going to move through the curve. Like that. And if we were to look at it, let's go here, panel, camera view, camera settings. Let's just put resolution gate up, and you can see now it's moving through, but it's not moving through the way that I want to. I want to orient this camera to the path here. So I'm going to grab the shape here. I grab the camera, and I can go into motion paths and open that up. And I can change the orientation of the camera. Also, you can do that by going into your attributes, into the motion path, and you can change the front axis to Y. So what that did is it changed the up axis to X. We don't want that. We want it Z. Is it inverse up? So you can play around with these, and it's changing the x-axis and the y-axis. If you get all mixed up and don't know where you are, you can always reset these, but it is set to Y, so it's going to be there upside down, and I'm going to do the side twist. If we go to side twist, I think that's going to try. Let's see if we can fix this here. Let's see if it's the up twist. Let's get rid of that. Oh, that's odd. I think Maya's doing something kind of weird with me right now. Let's just zero this out. I don't know why the heck that is doing that. Let's go into my attributes again, and let's see if we can change that to X. Maybe if we do the up twist, yeah, maybe that's why it was going a little crazy. So I'm just going to change my up twist, -90. Let's go -90, and it's going to follow the path